Hey gardeners, I hope all of you are doing really well and everything is growing awesome in your gardens. Me, however, I'm a little embarrassed to be making this video today. So all right, let's get real today. Now, as I mentioned in our last video when we were planting out all of our tomatoes, things kind of got by me a little bit. I kept those tomatoes stuck in a 72 cell tray for too long. They got root bound, and basically the tomatoes just started hating life. And I finally was able to get them potted up and get them planted out into our garden spaces. And as you saw in the last video, the tomatoes have recovered. They're doing really great. And if you're gonna neglect anything, it's gonna be tomatoes. Tomatoes will rebound and they will grow really, really great. Now the question is the weather though, when it comes to them, is it gonna be too hot? Those sort of conditions and things later on in the season about how we get fruit. Now today we're talking about peppers though. And I mentioned about being embarrassed. Nobody really should be embarrassed about any of gardening failures, outcomes that you weren't expecting and all that sort of stuff. But for me, I've been doing this for well over 10 years now. I've been growing peppers for over a decade, and I make videos showing you all about growing peppers. So this season is a little bit different for me because I messed it up. I really messed it up. And it was really in the whole hardening off process, something I really stress for people who grow and start their plant starts indoors like we do. I've got a whole setup indoors, a 2-stage light system that I do for all these peppers, and we care for them for months leading up to our last frost date when they can come outside intermittently. And it's the harden off process. We're letting them out just for short periods at a time, extending that time out each day so that they get more and more used to being outside in the outside weather under the sun. And I got the process started off just right, but again, got busy doing something else and it slipped my mind. The day was cloudy, so I had them out in a spot where they could be, basically full sun if it wasn't cloudy. But wouldn't you know it, just after I get busy doing something else, the clouds dissipate and the full sun pops out. It ends up being really hot and my plants get really scorched. So I'm gonna show you the plants. We're gonna talk about them. We're gonna plant them out today. But again, boy, oh boy, this is going to be quite a year for peppers. Now again, peppers might be about the second plant that you can kind of neglect and have issues with, and they will rebound again to same sort of situations, weather, heat, other conditions, about what kind of outcomes we're going to get as far as harvesting and fruits off of these plants. But peppers are really resilient as well too, and ultimately they'll grow back from where they are. So let's take a look at these things. So all right, here they are. Look at these poor, sad peppers. My, oh my. And you can see down here, look at this. All these leaves. In fact, a lot of them have blown off because they're just dropping leaves like crazy right now. Ay, these poor things. Look at that, just coming right off of here. So, yeah. They'll be all right though. Like I said, they'll be okay. I'm trying to completely assure myself of that. And with enough experience, as I said, that I have, I know they'll be okay. I've taken care of worse plants than this for sure. But really, again, just kind of disappointed that I left them out and got them just way too much sun, way too early. And again, this is just really also just another lesson though too about the importance of hardening off your indoor plant starts. And even some of those ones you get from greenhouses and the sort too as well too. But you want to make sure that they're hardened off properly so that you're not going to go through what I've gone through here this year. But again, too, plants are resilient. These plants will recover and they will be looking great in the next few months. In fact, we'll show those to you. We'll keep you up to date with how they're doing. And yeah. And today we're going to plant these out. I'm going to show you a few different spaces that we're planting them out in. And I'm not going to go over each variety. As you can see, we've got a ton of different varieties here. So I'm not going to go over each variety and what they are. We will do that later on in a later video as we do more of, you know, more of a garden tour, maybe a pepper garden tour as well too, to talk about all of our different varieties. And hopefully later on as we do that, these plants will be looking a lot better, as I said, and we can talk all about what we've got growing on and the different flavors that we've got coming in our peppers. So, all right, one more thing I've got to do too before we get to planting out our peppers is getting all of this fresh new soil that I've got. A couple of videos ago, we sifted out all of our alleyway compost from the alleyway compost worm bin and our trash can compost that we have as well too. So we sifted all of that out. We got a lot of really good compost. I added it to some recycled soil from old containers and pots, and we've mixed it up, and as you can see, we've added some fresh perlite in there for drainage, and this stuff is going to be just great to top off all of our wicking buckets and our containers and elevated raised beds throughout our patio and growing spaces. So I've got to get this done here so we can put those peppers in those containers. So, all right, there we go. We've got our compost amended soil all spread out throughout the different garden spaces, our elevated raised beds, our 5-gallon water wicking containers. They're all topped off with some of this great new soil that should just really help some of these plants out here real soon too. One of the things about these pepper selections that we have here is that they haven't been fed for a while. They've been outside now dealing with all of these new outdoor conditions and getting into this nice new soil with this compost added in and all of that. It's just going to be a nice boost for these plants that really, really need it. So now we're just going to plant these out, and it's just really simple. We've got them in these double solo cups here, and we're just going to take them out. Just want to kind of loosen, don't want them to get caught up there. We want to kind of loosen up the soil and then just gently pull them out. And then you'll see, look at that nice root system on there, all set to go. All right, now all we're going to do is dig up a deep enough hole for them so that we can bury them, similar to the tomatoes like we talked about in the last tomato video. You can bury tomatoes just really deep. They'll grow new roots up the stem or the main stalk, and then even on some of the stems. But peppers, they're not going to do that all the way up the stem. They will, though, grow some new roots right around the top there of the stem that's coming out of the soil. You'll see little root nodes that are forming there as well. So what you want to do is you want to bury the pepper plant about 1.5 inches deep, so that you can make sure that those root nodes are under in the soil and they start to form some good roots to help this plant thrive later on. So just get that right in there, tuck it in nicely, and it's just that simple. So one of the questions I get a lot about these 5-gallon water wicking buckets that we use all over our gardens, I've been using these too as well for over 10 years too, and they are tried and true and one of the greatest containers you can get, especially if you live in a hot area. Now they are a wicking container that holds water in the bottom bucket and wicks it up into the top bucket. Now I'll do a video here real soon too on the buckets again to kind of give everybody the lowdown. But one of the things again that I get asked all the time is that when you're putting in plant starts or you're starting seeds or anything like that, do you water them from the top? Because of course we put water into the bottom of the bucket so that they wick up into the soil of the top bucket, but we do water them from the top as well too. I mean, we don't want these containers to dry out at all, and if you got water in there, it should do fine. But I water from the top when I'm putting in all of my plant starts. I also water from the top when I'm doing my feeding as well too. We're going to be doing some compost tea, some vermicompost tea in fact, coming up here as well in another video, and I'll go over all of that as well. But yeah, we do water from the top as well too. So one last thing before we finish up here with our young pepper starts here is they're just getting transplanted out. Their roots need to get growing. The plant needs to recover. We don't need it focusing on forming fruits. So if you see any flowers or anything like that on your pepper starts this early as you're transplanting them, go ahead and just pluck those things off. So all right, gardeners, there we go. I got my hands all dirty today, mission accomplished. And even though we didn't get off to the best start with our pepper starts as they're getting out into our garden spaces, I'm sure that now that we got them out into their different containers and such, that they're gonna be well on their way to recovering and being great pepper plants here in no time. So that's one of the things I wanted to do too before I end this video, is just send a little bit of encouragement out to all of you gardeners out there, especially those of you who are new or going through different troubles, killing plants like we all do. I mean, I'm a seasoned gardener and we still go through all of this stuff. I'm still even learning things 10 years on. So really, don't let anything get in your way. Don't let mistakes, don't let dead plants or anything like that stop you from gardening and growing your own food. Okay? and keep following along with us here at the Urban Gardener, and I'll keep encouraging you along the way and showing you all of the things that I've got growing on here in all of my unique spaces. And so if you're still here with us right now, be sure to hit that thumbs up, click the like button, as well as hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you can be notified of all of our upcoming videos and live streams too. Don't forget to check out our Let's Get Growing show on the weekends. All right, gardeners, I'll see you on our next video. What? I didn't even record it? Are you kidding me? You gotta hit the record button. I just did a whole thing. Yikes. And first, something's burning. Definitely like a wood fire or something. The skies are clear, no fires yet for us either though, so someone's probably just got a fire pit or something going on. Hey Dexter, how you doing, buddy? What's going on? Yeah? How you doing, huh? It's good to see you, bud. Next video. Okay, that's not bad. That one wasn't bad. I'm gonna try another one more just to be sure.